Holistic Health Net, where we strive for a healthy DC. This show explores different alternative health practices for all ages in different places throughout DC. On today's show, we will talk to some of the staff of Potomac River Running in Cleveland Park about barefoot running. And then when we come back here, we will talk to barefoot runner BH Jamison about her experiences with barefoot running.
Well, you're currently in Potomac River Running, located in Cleveland Park on Connecticut Avenue. We are a specialty running store. We're very involved in the community. We host over 20 races a year throughout the Maryland, DC, Virginia community. We also have just a lot of community events. We have group runs. If you check our website on PotomacRiverRunning.com, you can get all the information on those events.
Yes, when someone comes in, we have a couple-step process. First, we put them on our pressure pad, and we'll kind of get a pressure distribution map to see where the foot has more pressure, what the arch structure looks like. After doing that, we'll put them up on the treadmill and watch them run. And based on their foot strike, we'll have a certain sense of what kind of shoe is best for them, what we call either neutral or stability or motion control. We also have a number of training programs that come through the store. So people training for like their first 5K, just trying to get off the ground from like the couch to 5K type of thing, or whether someone's trying to step up their fitness or step up their distance if they want to try like a half marathon or a marathon. We have training programs through the store that help them achieve those goals. We also have an expansive amount of clothing and accessories, lots of fun stuff. There's lots of fun colors out there. I love bright stuff, so we have it all. Barefoot running has been a craze for a few years now, ever since the book Born to Run came out. It's a really good book, has a lot of good information in it, and a lot of people got into running because of that book, which is fantastic. Now, barefoot running kind of says that you should be striking on your midfoot to forefoot for efficiency. It's very, very true from what the research that we've seen. However, it's just also important to have enough cushioning. If you're very efficient, you really can run barefoot. You can run in 5 or 5 fingers. A lot of people aren't efficient enough to do quite that, so they need a little bit of cushioning. So a lot of the market has shoes that do have some cushioning now with that too. Even a shoe that has a Vibram outsole or bottom of the foot, like the New Balance Minimus Road, it actually has a 0 drop heel to toe and just very little cushioning, but it's enough to really absorb some of the impact. Now, anytime someone goes into a minimal type of shoe, basically what that's doing is a couple of things. One, you get less cushioning, and 2, the heel to toe drop, how far the heel is off the ground compared to the toe, drops from a traditional shoe, which might be somewhere around 12 millimeters, down to 8 or 4, or like this one, 0 millimeters. So when you do that, it just kind of works the Achilles and tendons and calf muscles a little bit more. So if you do transition into that, you need to do it nice and slowly to avoid getting injured.
Today we are talking with AU student BH Jamison about her experiences with barefoot running. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So what made you decide to start barefoot running?
I'd had a number of friends that were barefoot running, and I always just thought that I didn't have the arch structure to properly barefoot run, and I would also spend probably about $90 to $120 every time I got a new pair of running shoes. And I was trying to increase mileage, and so I was burning through them like crazy, and I thought, well, maybe if I can get myself to barefoot run, I can just eliminate all of my costs, mostly.
So how did it work out for you?
It started out really very poorly, actually. I was living in Arkansas at the time, and I just decided to go run 3 miles without shoes. But there was dirt roads that had a lot of gravel in them, and I think at about 1.5 miles, I stopped to look at my feet and realized that there was no skin on the bottom of my feet anymore, and instead I ended up taking my shirt off, ripping it in half, wrapping my feet because I was bleeding, and hobbling back to the ranch where I had come from. So the first experience, not so great. But
did it get better?
It did get better. I went and saw Iron and Wine that night in Little Rock, and I could barely move. Like, I had people carry me occasionally because my feet were just raw. But I gave it about a week, and calluses started to build, and I made it to 2 miles, and then after that, 3, and then I was able to climb back up to the mileage that I had previously been at before I ruined my feet. So I don't recommend necessarily just jumping right into that, especially not on gravel. Gravel's not the best choice, but grass maybe. Grass would be good.
Have you heard of the New Balance Minimus shoes? Because it's supposed to help the initial,
Yeah.
terribleness
I tend to be
of it.
stubborn and thick-headed, so when I want a barefoot run, I really want a barefoot run. So I should have, that was probably the better option, but in my head I was like, well, that's what barefoot running is. And people did that all the time. Not everyone had shoes always, so I thought it would work out better than it did.
So do you still barefoot run?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. It builds your calf muscles up a lot. So it's just, it's different. Like the way that it pulls on your tendons and your muscles, and the way that you run is very different. You have to like really reteach yourself how to run. I think running shoes have entirely altered the way that humans move their bodies when they do run. And so it's just essentially you suck for a while. And that's no fun if you feel like you're doing really well and then all of a sudden you again feel like you're incredibly out of shape or whatever it is and you can't run nearly as far. It's frustrating, but just building back up and reteaching yourself how to run.
Interesting. Well, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching Holistic Health Net, and see you next week.